Hey, welcome to Overshare Pamphlet. My name is Rob, and I'm the host of this one-man show coming to you every Monday, 6 a.m. UK time. And today we're getting quite political, I guess, and I suppose in an interesting way. It's still entertainment related. To be fair, like it's still pop culture related, but it's actually very much connected to my previous episode as well. Funnily enough, very unexpected, but this is indeed about the recent winning bid, I guess, by Netflix to buy Warner Brothers. Now, as of today, as of right now, actually, to be fair, the bid hasn't been approved by the government, by the U.S. government at the moment, but it is the winning bid that has been accepted by Warner Brothers to be bought by Netflix, basically. And I just want to talk briefly about what the deal entails and the larger, I guess, effects that this is gonna have on Hollywood and the entertainment industry in general as well. So, just basically the repercussions of this massive deal that has been brewing, I guess, this whole situation has been brewing for quite a while now. Now, again, as I said to begin with, I wanted to say that the Warner Bros. Situation has been quite complicated for quite a while. In the past 5 years, things have changed quite quickly. Warner Bros. Was merged with Discovery, and then I would say a couple of years ago, roughly, David Zaslav, who is the CEO of the conglomerate, basically put himself down to repurpose the company to be eventually sold, right? So to make it more appealing and all that stuff, so that any bigger company could be interested in buying it. And it so happens also that this is the year that he was planning to do it, because this year has been quite successful theatrically for Warner Bros. They've had major hits like Sinners. They've had recently. They've had Weapons. They've had Superman. They've had several movies, and they actually are cracking the top 3, I think, studios of the year, which is very interesting. But the plan has been executed, and now there's been I think it's been already a week since we started first hearing about who was going to bid for this purchase, and the main 3 competitors were known to be Peacock, the conglomerate that also has Universal, and then I think it's Comcast, I believe, and then of course Netflix. But I think anyone who was interested in this was already thinking that Netflix was the least probable to win the bid, because they have an extremely high hurdle to clear, which is the antitrust laws. And so no one was really planning on betting on that. And surprise, surprise, it did go in the end into that direction. We did get I don't want to say unfortunately, but we did get Netflix to eventually buy now Warner Brothers. Now, I wanted to first get into the why is this antitrust specifically, and why this is one of the scariest times for Hollywood, even more than the past few years. And again, I invite you to listen to my previous episode where I talked roughly about how IP has become, how IP driven has been as the industry become in that sense, and how risk averse it has become because of streaming and because of different things. And it's quite topical now that Netflix is streaming massive, the biggest streaming service on the planet, has now bought a studio which is a direct competitor in their field. Now, antitrust laws basically are, for those of you who don't know, basically are laws that are put specifically in place, both, I think, there's also in the European Commission, but also in the US government specifically, to curb a monopoly creation in that sense, right? So in commerce, basically, what you really want to avoid is to have one or two main companies that dominate a certain business, right? And in this case, and it is quite concerning because this could be possibly falling into antitrust laws infringement in that sense, because Netflix is the biggest streaming platform, and by buying Warner Bros. Direct competitor, they would end up accounting for a third or almost a half of the streaming power in the US. So that is quite concerning, to say the least. And a part of the antitrust laws, basically, that are in place are put up to help sort of the market stay competitive, and which in turn means that the consumers get lower prices. There's multiple, if you have multiple competitors in the same business, you have also a variety of products, and quality therefore can be also still be sustained, and consumers have more choice, and that means competing prices in a way. And all these things don't happen if you are under monopoly, or like there's one or two big companies that dictate prices. And I mean, if you are the only company that is the biggest one, it's very easy for you to force your customers to pay an extraordinary price for your service or for your tickets or whatever. And that also means also for the workers, it's going to be, there's going to be massive layoffs, and with monopolies in that sense, there's a fewer need for, of course, different employees, because there's less competitors, so that means therefore less companies and less workspaces, basically, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's quite a big deal, especially for capitalist societies. I think these are some of the laws that the state has put in place to intervene and stop the market from becoming super, let's just say, consumer unfriendly in that sense. Now, of course, Netflix has every reason to buy Warner Brothers. To be frank, they bought the entire company, well, the Warner Brothers Studios, for $83 billion. They didn't buy the entire conglomerate. They bought just the half that contains Warner Brothers Studios and HBO Max, and everything else. So whatever was in that, I think it was like CNN, maybe, I think it was, and Discovery Plus and all that stuff. That's not carrying across to Netflix, but frankly, that's the least appealing part of the company, anyways. But Netflix is, again, very much motivated to get new IP, as I was saying in my previous episode as well. I was saying the only way that has been proven, I guess, in the market to still get people interested is to bank on already established IP. And now Netflix has had this major issue for a while, until it started producing stuff that has become their own IP, like its original stuff, like Stranger Things and Wednesday. I guess Wednesday's not entirely original, but you know what I mean, like all these TV shows, and even, for example, movies like Knives Out, for example. Those are all IPs that started off in Netflix. So it took them a while to get to that, but I think that the major issue is that they still want more IP to be sold to be acquired, and to be basically keep on fueling the consumers in that sense. I mean, Netflix is very much consumer driven in a way. They don't really care about quality of the products necessarily. They don't care about the artistry of filmmaking, and they certainly don't care about theatrical releases at all, actually. And one of the examples of this is, of course, Frankenstein, for example, that was released day and date, and so that means both on Netflix and in theaters. And of course, people did not go to theaters to watch it, and also it was a very restricted theatrical run as well, which was quite disappointing, to be quite frank. But anyways, again, Warner Brothers has all that Netflix is wanting right now, which is major IP that's already established. I'm talking about Harry Potter, I'm talking about Game of Thrones, I'm talking about any possible DC comics and like property like those Batman, Superman, all these things like Joker, all that stuff. That's all under Warner Brothers. So that's a massive deal. I think the Lord of the Rings is also part of that, and of course by getting HBO to get, again, as I said, Game of Thrones, The Wild Lotus, all these things like Euphoria, all these like properties that were quite established beforehand. So yeah, I mean they hit the jackpot with that. So, but why is this overall bad? Let's just get it to that point, right? Or at least in my opinion, it is. Of course, everyone has their own view about this, and so I'm sure if you're like very much into streaming, you might think that this is like the best thing that could have ever happened because now your Netflix subscription has become immediately much more valuable in that sense. So I think, and also this is like based on other articles that I've read from the Guardian, the New York Times, all that stuff, but many people are concerned about this, including, of course, senators from the U.S. government, but also every possible union has been in the entertainment industry in Hollywood has been trying to sue or like have a word with Netflix and trying to like stop this deal to happen, to like materialize. Because, and I'm talking about also major directors like James Cameron and Christopher Nolan, who is also the head of the Directors Guild of America. So if all these, the Writers Guild and the Directors Guild and multiple senators and so many other unions are all going against this, there must be something that they are quite right about, in my opinion. And that is simply the fact that, this could possibly mean the end of movies as we know them, like theatrical and like cinemas and theatrical releases and everything else. Because again, with a big monopoly being created by Netflix and Warner Brothers, that is literally accounting for a lot of entertainment that is going to be just served to people at home. There's no need to produce indie movies or critically acclaimed movies, or there's no need to have smaller studios to produce stuff. No one is going to go and watch it because everything is going to be already provided by Netflix, which is very scary and very wrong, I would say. Also, again, imagine, for example, a few of the movies that have been very successful this year, like Sinners, for example. I'm sure you might have heard of it. That, in a Netflix world, in a Netflix-owned Warner Brothers, that would have never had the same success or the same theatrical run that it had under, like, independent Warner Brothers. That would have never happened. Maybe what it could have done is to do like a theatrical restricted release and then put it immediately on streaming. And for example, a movie like Weapons would have never made the theatrical release at all. And I guess you could say, but why does it matter? Why does it have to be on a big screen? Why can't I just simply watch whatever I want on my smaller screen? Well, I think there's multiple reasons for that. One is the churning out of the content in that sense. Once something has to go to the movies, it means that there is a need to have it watched on a big screen. And I'm talking about not simply visually, but also ideas and a communal moment in general. I think having stuff mass produced is just not good, but also the simple fact that, again, we're forming a monopoly here. It means that no one is going to properly quality check whatever Netflix does. And again, Netflix is consumer based, is not, and technically all movies are also partially consumer based because they want to be successful at the box office, but there's not the sole reason why you create a movie when you put it on the theater. The theater is supposed to be, like, a movie is supposed to be also an art. It's supposed to be about moving people and critically stimulate, I guess, people and critics alike. And it is, again, a communal experience that we all go together to see. And big ideas, I think it was Guillermo del Toro talked about this as well, criticizing Netflix. Big ideas require big screens and big atmospheres, and you cannot recreate that through Netflix. And I'm sorry, like, another scary thing about this is that if you kill the theatrical business in that sense, you're gonna divide, like you're gonna isolate people even more when it comes to entertainment. And this is a prime example of Netflix as well, that is so different from other streaming services. Netflix, the sole reason why they drop content all at once without having a weekly release is just because they don't care about building conversations or anything. They just want to keep people subscribed. Like they drop entire seasons at once, and therefore everyone, no one who's watching the TV show is watching it at the same pace. It's just not happening because there's no respect for storytelling. There's no respect for any of the sorts. And I am one of the few people maybe now who has never had Netflix ever, specifically because of this. I've always thought Netflix was a amount of garbage and a lot of shit because, again, there's no proper, incentive behind art on there. Sure, there's been plenty of instances of very successful shows that are pretty good, but I think it became a point. It came to a point where it was just like out of necessity. These directors who were not getting employed anywhere else, they were just selling their art on Netflix basically eventually. But I think overall, Netflix has been one of the main components as to why quality has been going, like media's fragmentation as well and everything else. I think also the quality of the media and the entertainment has gone downhill. Now, as I was saying, the many senators have been calling out the antitrust issues with this. If the largest streaming company swallows one of the biggest competitors, which is Warner Brothers, the outcome could eliminate jobs, push down wages, worsen conditions for all entertainment workers, raise prices for consumers, reduce the volume and diversity of content for all viewers. Industry workers, along with the public, are also impacted for sure. And a few powerful companies maintaining tight control over what consumers can watch on television and streaming and theaters is just, frankly, non-competitive, and the merger must be stopped. Co-chief executive of Netflix, Ted Sarandos, tried to sort of counter this by saying that their purchase is pro-consumer, is pro-innovation, is pro-worker and pro-creator. But I want to circle back to what they said before they bought Warner Brothers, and as soon as the bid went through. Before they bought Warner Bros., they were saying that they were going to honor Warner Brothers' theatrical releases, and as soon as they got them, they said they were going to start curtailing it and try to go towards a more consumer-friendly theatrical run, which means, once again, a very short run on the theaters and then straight to Netflix. Like, they immediately torpedoed, which tells you immediately that they don't give two fucks about theaters. And there's been quite a few articles coming out about what they said about what he specifically said about the theatrical release and experiences and everything else, how he's so anti-theatrical releases. So it's clear that Netflix doesn't give two shits about this. It doesn't give two shits about Hollywood, doesn't give two shits about the artistry of filmmaking and the quality of the content that they're putting out. They just care about consumers, and consumerism is just crazy. And again, all the big dogs in Hollywood and the unions and the guilds coming together to try to stop this is a huge sign that you should all pay attention to. I don't care that you think this is going to make your Netflix subscription much richer. This is a very short-sighted, I think, view, because also at the same time, as I said, if this goes through, yes, your subscription might become richer, but you're going to have to pay so much more as well, because there's not going to be any other competitors for you, like to go and say, apart from maybe Disney. But if you want to watch Harry Potter, you're going to have to go there. If you want to watch Game of Thrones, you're going to have to go there. If you want to watch The White Lotus, you're going to have to go there. And I'm sure as hell that Netflix will increase its price to the stars. Like, it's going to be crazy. So, yeah, think about that. Think about all this when you're, I guess, reading articles and reading what's going on. Again, this has not been finalized. This is not something that has been approved by the government yet, but it's quite weird to me that it even got to this point. I mean, I think everyone was thinking that Peacock was going to get it because of the Ellisons and the relationship with Trump. And that was also quite scary, to be fair, because Ellisons are very right wing and Warner Brothers is extremely lefty, I guess. But this is even worse, I would argue, because it's just destroying the business in its entirety. So not happy with this. Very, very unhappy news for cinephiles and for people who enjoy going to the movies and experiencing stuff as they were intended to be. So yeah, I also encourage you to watch Grace Randolph's Beyond the Trailers episode that she did. Well, she did a live stream about this, but you can still catch it on YouTube. She very poignantly went through the entire bid situation and all the you know outcomes of this and all that stuff. That's really, really interesting to see, and I think you should go and listen to her. She has a very important point to bring to your attention as well. I think she just really went for the throat, which is really good. Yeah, and also she exposed a lot of stuff about other studios. Now, what's really concerning also here, I think the outcome of this is not simply for, of course, theaters themselves, but also for the other minor studios that are now for sure going to be eyed by major tech companies like Apple or Amazon Prime. Prime? Amazon in general. Everyone is going to go and look for their own IP studio now. Theatrical releases are just going to be smashed, basically. But Universal also, after this bid that was won by Netflix, the Universal Studios themselves have parted ways from. They've been detached from UMG, the UMG, like the Comcast group. So I can actually see Universal also getting bought. Maybe they did this for that exact reason. Peacock has been also, I guess, attacked by the media. They've started exposing them for a lot of shit. So the Allisons may not even be able to counter offer, I guess. It's just grim. So I actually am scared that this is gonna go through, but we'll see what the administration does in the US and how this is gonna evolve. Hopefully, they use their common sense and they see that this is very illegal. It should be not allowed, but only time will tell. Well, I guess we'll see what happens. I'll leave you to the sponsor and then to songs of the week. So stay tuned. Right, a quick break because I need you all to get into this. I want to put you all on something on your radar that I think you will definitely enjoy. If you've been looking for eyewear that actually feels intentional and well made, you've got to check out Aquila. And this is not my bestie Aquila, but it's the actual brand Aquila Eyewear. They're an independent eyewear brand from Los Angeles, crafting basically meticulously handmade limited run frames. So they're not wearing the same mass-produced stuff as everybody else. And what I really like about Aquila is that they manage to balance style and substance with their frames. They are unisex, super durable, and available with UV blocking sun lenses, blue light blockers, or even prescription lenses. And get this, those lenses are made from 50% recycled material, which is wild. Sustainability isn't just a buzzword for them either. Aquila uses plant-based cellulose acetate, recycled optical grade lenses, and even plastic-free biodegradable packaging. They're also members of the 1% for the planet, so part of every purchase goes to environmental organizations doing real work. Plus, Aquila's designs are just cool, timeless, modern, a little bold, a little artsy, whatever your vibe is. There's definitely a frame that will fit your style and what actually feels like you. So if you want eyewear that's thoughtfully designed, sustainably made, and starts just $120, head to Aquila's website and check out their collection. That's AKILA, and you can use my code Overshare Pamphlet for 10% off any product. Again, that's AKILA for Aquila, and that's Overshare Pamphlet, my code for 10% off. Treat your eyes to something better. All right, back to the show. Alright, babes, it's time for the songs of the week. Now, as usual, you can find the songs in my playlist of the month that is available on Spotify. You can just search the Overshare Pamphlet songs of the week dash whatever month and year we're in. So this is going to go into the December 2025 playlist. Now, first off, I want to talk about Sorry to Myself by Demi Lovato, and I know I haven't really properly caught up with her album. It's not that deep, it's called, but this song is just really catchy to me and very, very, very memorable. I just I think that the sound of it really reminds me of "We Can Be Friends" by Taylor Swift by Ariana Grande, and therefore also "Dancing on My Own" by Robin. But it is like, I think, even faster paced in a way, and the content is very personal to her. She's apologizing to herself and like excusing, sort of like forgiving herself for all the shit that she's gone through basically the past few years. So that's quite the personal song for her specifically. She's talking about like abuse of substance again, and past relationships and all that stuff. But very cool. The catchiest part for me is the high note that she does at the end of the second chorus, I think. So cool. And of course she's a incredible singer. You all know Demi Lovato is that girl. So yeah, I mean, you cannot get anything better than that. So then other song that I want to talk about is "I'm Yours" by Jessie Joe Stark. This song is very, very, very poppy in a way, but like slower paced. It's very, very cool. It's sort of like synthy in parts, I guess, but it's not, super fast paced, I guess. It's not like but it's a very catchy song, and it is sort of about like, you never say that I'm yours and all that stuff. Like, it's just that's the main message of the song, very straightforward, but it's still very, very cool. Like, I really, really enjoy it. I think if you want something very catchy, this is a song for you. Then I also have "Peace" by L. Coves. "Peace" is just like a more singer-songwriter-y type of song in general, and it's more like acoustic-y, guitar-y, I guess, production as well. Still very catchy though, very mellow in a way, but very cool. Very much recommended, but different vibe for the previous two songs basically. But yes, and then I have, of course, Michael Bublé with "Everything," because I don't know what happened to me this year. I've always known these songs, to be quite frank with you, but I mostly listened. Well, my parents made me listen to them when I was growing up because they were fans of him, to be fair. But this is it. Like, this year, I've unlocked my Michael Bublé obsession. It was "Haven't Met You Yet" before, and now I'm in the, I think it's a holiday mood. Like, he is the king of Christmas, and everything. I'm really like reflecting on it, but his songs are so good. It's just like so wholesome and so festive, and plus I think just memorable. Like, the production of this one and even "Haven't Met You Yet," they're just top notch, very memorable, and he's also super talented as a singer, I think, and just writing the best stuff. So kudos to him, honestly. Like, let's appreciate Michael Bublé a bit more, guys. I'm gonna be on the front lines for this. Don't you worry about that. But yes, go listen to "Everything" by Michael Bublé. That's the best, one of the best songs that he's made. And with that, that's the end of Songs of the Week. And I think also the end of the episode, which is, this is probably the quickest Songs of the Week I've done ever, probably. But in any event, I hope you guys do check them out. You can go again on Spotify. Follow me everywhere, like even in person. Just follow me, guys, please. Just follow me, please. Please. But thank you for the support with the podcast. I really appreciate it. I love seeing reactions by everyone. It's just so much fun, and do let me know in the comments under Spotify post of the podcast what your thoughts are. If you guys are happy with the purchase of Netflix, purchase of Warner Brothers or not. I'm curious to see what you guys think, because I'm an outsider. I don't stream Netflix. Sorry, but yeah, looking forward to that. See you.